everyone, and welcome to Food for Thought, delivered by Red Hot Blue. Now today we've got a very wonderful special lady, Carla Steen from The Life Approach. Now you are a lady with many stories. Reading through, going back over all of your history, I was like, wow, I actually need quite a few pages for you today. But you have done an array of things. Obviously, you lived in Japan for 3 years. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right.
One of your destinations?
Yes, that's right. So I was exchange student after year 12 for a year.
Wow.
And then I came back and went to university and studied Japanese. And then I went back and lived for another 2 years teaching English.
Wow.
So incredible.
Yeah. That would have been an interesting contrast, learning Japanese, coming back and then going back to... And what were some of the things that you found, you know, most challenging during that time as an exchange student? So obviously that's young.
Yeah, well, I suppose I just turned 18. I think language was the biggest challenge in the beginning because I couldn't speak any Japanese pretty much. But the people, I went to Matsura, which is Mackay sister city.
Oh, yes.
And the people were incredibly welcoming. We used a lot of sign language. And I learned pretty quick. You have to. Like my host family couldn't speak any English.
Wow.
So it's incredible. But it was a really positive experience and everyone wanted to help me.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
That's probably the biggest challenge.
And can you still speak Japanese?
Yeah, not as good as I used to.
No.
But yeah. When I get an opportunity, I like to drag it out.
Yeah, good. And have you kept in touch with the family over that time?
Yeah, I do. And I've been back a couple of times since then.
Excellent.
And, kept in touch with some of my students that I used to teach as well.
That's exciting. That's really exciting. So then, after uni, what did you do then? Like, obviously, you've got this Japanese under your belt, and you've taught English, and you've been over in Japan. And then, where did your travels take you then?
Well, then I had grand plans after leaving Japan. And I thought I'd go and work overseas, and I always had dreams of working for like the United Nations or somewhere where I could travel the world and do good for the world. But I ended up coming back to Australia to start a master's degree. And I was living in Brisbane, just up the road from ABC. And for some reason, I said one day, I'll go in and see if I can get some part-time work, not a journalist or anything, but just do some work experience because they're just really close. And so after that, I ended up just doing some work experience there for a couple of months. And
well, they obviously saw something in you.
Well, yes, which is interesting given I didn't have a journalistic background, but I think I'm curious. I think, and I had some really good mentors there that wanted to teach me.
And I guess too, you know, at that age, some real life experiences under your belt also.
Yeah.
And so you then spent a bit of time in the media, you know, from ABC and obviously on the radio with Hot.
Yes.
And back in its day, Hot and CFM and Channel 10.
Yeah, that's right.
So from radio to
television.
TV. So 7 years you spent in Brisbane in a government role. So that would have been such a contrast, I would imagine, you know, from obviously commercial radio and television to you know, the lay of the land with government. How did you find that? Was it something that you had set your sights on going into? Or was it another one of those sliding door moments?
It was that, but I think I've always been interested in government and media and social justice and all those things. They all interweave. And so I quite liked doing the stories on politics. So it was almost a natural progression to go into that role. So I went from being the journalist interviewing politicians to being the media advisor dealing with journalists, dealing with my politicians.
Yeah. So 7 years in Brisbane doing this role, and then travelled again?
So in between, about 4 years in, I decided to take a year off and go and travel the world. And I wanted to go and study Spanish, and I had these dreams of volunteering abroad. So I moved to Argentina for a couple of months.
As you do.
I did a volunteer program and studied some Spanish.
Wow.
And then did a bit of a trip through South America, through Europe, and was meeting my then boyfriend in China for a holiday. And
things went from there.
Yeah.
So what sort of volunteering work were you doing?
So we worked in the communities of Buenos Aires, some of the poor communities. I worked for a local NGO there, just volunteered with them a couple of hours a week teaching English or helping them, with some business development. The women in the community were making products, so helping them, giving them a little bit of advice there.
And I mean, some of these experiences, must be, did they help shape who you are and where you're going and your values as to, because I know you're very much about community and people and supporting, you know, and making sure there is a voice,
Mm.
you know, for the underdog or for women or for any of those causes that are true to your heart. So some of these things really help shape,
Oh,
you know,
absolutely.
what your values are and moving forward in your career and life.
Mm.
Yeah.
And it's always been important for me to, especially being born in such a great place and a safe place, and with all the opportunities in the world, a place like Mackay was a fabulous place to grow up. So it's always been important for me to see the rest of the world and see where I can have an impact, even if it's a little one every now and then, or at least be aware of it.
Yeah.
This isn't.
I think it's a really good point, isn't it? Because we do take for granted, you know, what we have and how fortunate we are here in Mackay.
Yeah.
And so to be able to, you know, set out and actually experience those things firsthand. And like you said, the little impact that, you know, you can make on them, but also then the impact it has on what you're taking on board, you know.
Yeah,
we forget very quickly or
absolutely.
easily, don't we?
Get caught up in our own little, you know, dramas.
Yes.
Which in the scheme of the rest of the world.
First world problems,
Absolutely.
yeah, exactly. You've had this amazing journey, you know, through your life and since finishing school, and lots of travel and experiences and opportunities. But obviously for those people who don't know, 2010 was a pretty traumatic year for you, being diagnosed with breast cancer. So that would have obviously turned everything, your world upside down.
Oh, absolutely. So when my daughter was just 12 months old, I was diagnosed, found a big lump, and it's been an interesting journey since then. But it has been a really pivotal, life-changing experience, and in a good way as well. You know, I've been fortunate that it was a type of cancer that could be worked on, and I've had, you know, radiation and lots of surgeries, but so far, touch wood, it's been a really good outcome.
Yeah, that's awesome. Because, I mean, you it relapsed, didn't it? It came back
right.
12 months after you were diagnosed.
Yeah, it's a 12 months check.
So, I mean, that must be a really scary moment, you know, when obviously that first time being diagnosed, you know, your world is turned upside down, but you work through that. And then to sort of think, here I am facing it again. What was that like? I mean, I can't even imagine how that...
Yeah, well, at the time it was petrifying because... you know, when you're first diagnosed with something like that, you think the worst. And I just thought, I'm going to die. You know, the only other, you know, I was like 30, so...
which is young.
Which is young. It is young. And then, you know, I think about those people that I knew. You think about Linda Emmett's and that you're not knowing much about it. That's what I expected was going to happen. So it took a long time. And really good medical people around me to, you know, to work through that. And it did take a while to not think, is every pain ache, you know, it coming
something
back
else.
or something else. So, you know, it has been a big journey in that respect.
And, you know, you often hear people say, you know, when you are faced with something like that, the change it does make on your life, you know, your thinking, the way you process things. Has that been true for you?
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
that you've looked at things from a different perspective and having a daughter, you know, and such a young daughter at the time. Do you see life through different eyes now
absolutely.
since that?
And you know, I think it really changed. Look, even on my career, because I just assumed after my daughter was a little bit older, I'd go back to full-time work and get back into the corporate and work big hours and really pursue that career that I sort of had before I had her. And I just thought, well, I mightn't have a lot of time.
Yeah.
I'm really just going to do what I can around her and give her the best childhood I can.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I can do that, but it was a big wake-up call. You know, and I really choose now where I spend my time, and that's been a big part of it. And I think that's always in the back of my mind, you know, making sure that I look after myself and her as much as I can.
And I think there's such a lesson in that we could all take, isn't it? Because we all think, I must do this and I should do this and make more time and slow down and what's important, stop and smell the roses, but we don't, do we? And it's sad that it should take something of that magnitude to make us think about that. But, you know, 5 years now, isn't it?
Yeah, 5 years.
In remission.
Fantastic. High five.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's a really positive story, and I think that's fantastic for women to know that, you know, here you, and through all of this, you know, you were working and studying and still being amazing, Carla, because I know you were someone that, you know, kept it fairly private because you needed to deal with things yourself, you know, but fantastic outcome.
Yeah, thank you.
Very happy for you. Yes.
Yeah.
So, being one, not to obviously ever, you might have slowed down a little bit during that time, but you're never going to be one to stop.
No.
Now, you are very passionate, as you've mentioned, about human rights. And it's something that I think is for all the years I've known you, it's very evident that that's something that, it's very close to your heart. Now, you attended the Emerging Women's Conference in New York. Is that correct?
Yep.
And I know I remember speaking to you after you came back from that, and you were just so inspired. Can you share some of that with us?
Yeah. So my best friend and I decided to go on a girls' trip / educational to Emerging Women, and it's a conference they have every year, putting together women leaders, everyone from celebrities to people that are authors and Oprah, people on the Oprah show, with business people and people leading the way in the United Nations or in different policy agendas. And so I went to this looking at these amazing women I'd seen on TV or read their books and realised, then they come and sit in the audience and have a chat, that they're just like me or any of my amazing friends or people I meet with.
They're normal.
They're normal.
They're normal.
And they talk about
days.
And they talk about their stories. And, we assume a lot of these people start off with an amazing story and maybe very privileged and went to the best universities. And sometimes that's the case. But most of the time it's just average or, just the everyday people that do great things.
And how incredible, I think that's actually what is so empowering, is that when we can feel so connected with real people. And I think where, the world is so guilty of making it seem like it's this, magical, untouchable thing that, people are blessed or it's a golden opportunity. But when people can actually strip down to the raw truth of, I have bad days, I might be a business leader, but, I have bad days and I'm normal and I might yell at my children and that's, I think, what is just truly amazing about that conference that I know you shared with me. It was just so real.
Yes, that's right. And I think it showed me that we just see such a glimpse of many people's lives and we aspire to that, thinking that's the normal, unattainable. But when you see, and not only the women on the stage, the women that we met at the conference, all had amazing stories too, and doing great things for themselves and the world, and balancing life and children or illnesses and all sorts of things.
So true, isn't it? I think people often fall into the trap of, you look at Facebook as an example, where you see a snapshot of this perfect life and this perfect world and perfect family, job, car, etc. But the reality of it is behind it, they're probably just like the rest of us.
Absolutely.
Trying to make everything work, trying to keep everyone happy.
Yeah.
So from that conference, you were completely inspired, and so came about the Life Approach.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Which is, and how many years now has that been going?
Maybe 2.5.
Yeah, I was going to say 3, around 3.
Yes,
So what's been happening in the world of the Life Approach?
Oh, wow. Well, so I came back and so my sister-in-law and I talked about doing something for a while, and she's got a similar interest in values, and we decided to get together, and I was telling her about this conference, and I said, there's women here, we should be helping to raise them up and get their stories out there and support them in what they're doing, and our skills combined, so my media, public relations, and her, she's social work and leadership in the not-for-profit sector. So we thought, let's get together and see what we can do with women in this community to get, to help them understand and realise their own potential, be authentic about it, but just showcase them in some way and give them some support. So we've sort of been plodding along with that in between raising kids and everything else. And
this is a first as a business owner.
That's right. Yeah.
So what have been some of the biggest challenges that you've come up against?
Well, I suppose it's a new sector for us too. So we're sort of starting into a sector where we're not really familiar, and we're just really learning as we go. It's probably the biggest challenge. And we've come together with an idea of what we think people want, but it's really learning what people want and need, what they're willing to pay for, where we can support them, where we can use our skills, and that's ongoing.
Yeah. And I think that is regardless of, because I think, things change. The landscape changes, so you need to sort of be adaptable to look at, what was working this year isn't this now. So the fact that you can be nimble and flexible like that, I think is great as a business. And so is there any highlight, stand out of the things that you've done?
Well, every day is a highlight, whether we're doing paid work or not, because we get to interact with so many amazing people. And not just women, we work with men as well, but when they come and they've got a story and they don't know what to do with it, a business idea or something, they don't know what to do with it.
Okay.
It's just even hearing how they've got to that point for me is exciting, and I could just sit and talk to people all day long.
So Carla, the Life Approach has, obviously there's all that amazing support that's going on and connecting people that we've just talked about, but there's some really exciting activities coming up with the Life Approach.
Yeah.
So can you share them?
Yes.
Yes.
We're sort of expanding into adventure.
Wow, awesome.
Yeah, particularly aimed at women and families.
Okay.
Because what we see as a group of mums is we want to do active things. We want to get out and do the things we did in our 20s.
Yes.
Whether it's go for a bike ride or climb a mountain. But it's a lot harder. There's a lot of barriers now. There's a lot of the time constraints. Getting a bit older, a bit sore. And there's also the guilt, constant guilt.
Absolutely.
But we think we'd like to create some opportunities, particularly for women to try adventure. So
what are they going to entail?
We're going to do some come and try days at sports where you don't have to commit to the long term, but if you try it and you like it, then you can keep going with the provider. And then it's like things in the outdoors. It's really about getting outdoors, taking part in activities, and connecting with other people.
We've got this spectacular region. Weather gets a bit hot, certain times of the year, but besides that, everything is in such close proximity that you can do these things, and the backdrop that we've got is incredible.
Exactly.
So we're not having to necessarily make circuits and events when you've got the likes of Youngalla and Rowan Park and big open fields. So that's exciting. So when might people expect to see something about that?
Well, in the next couple of weeks, we're going to launch our first couple of events, including a film festival, a women's only adventure film festival.
Okay.
And then we'll start rolling out some events like tasters and linking with other providers. And I suppose we're bringing our skill set into it, which is breaking down those barriers, but also showcasing people in the region that are doing it.
Excellent.
And hearing their stories.
Wow.
For everyone from the amazing group of people that are competing at a world level to the ones that are just starting for the first time.
Yeah.
And how do they do it? Where do they fit it in? How do they break down their barriers? So we can all learn from it.
So there's true, real stories. Well, that's exciting. So people should watch Facebook for
watch
Life
the
Approach.
Life Approach Facebook page in the next couple of weeks.
Each time in our session, we do our quirky, quick questions.
Okay. Yes.
Now, these shouldn't be, something you should ponder. Just whatever comes to mind, go with it, okay? So here's what we've pulled out for you.
Okay.
So, what is one thing you would put on your bucket list?
Oh, there's so many on my bucket list.
I can imagine.
Norway is big time on my bucket list at the moment.
Okay. Norway. Haven't been there before.
Never.
Right.
It's really cool. Okay.
All right. We'll keep in touch about that.
Something in the fjords. Maybe stand up paddleboarding in the fjords.
Yeah, that's it. Perfect. Favourite flower?
Frangipani.
Frangipani. Beautiful.
Yeah.
What annoys you? What's something that annoys you?
What annoys me? Oh goodness, lots of things annoy me. Probably I annoy myself most of the time of being a bit unorganised and all over the place. So probably disorganisation.
Yes. Yeah. Finish this sentence. When I dance, I look like
J-Lo. If only.
I know you love to bust the moves out on the dance floor because I've been with you many a time.
Yep.
And what is your biggest addiction?
Well, other than chocolate and
I was going to say
wine
travel.
and travel, it's probably curiosity. I'm addicted to learning. I'm always enrolled in a course or doing something. I'm always learning, and it's an addiction. That's why
fantastic.
I can't stop.
Yeah. That's a great addiction. Well, do you enjoy that addiction?
Yeah, I do.
You do?
That's probably why I'm disorganised, because I'm interested in everything.
But I think that's how you continue to keep life interesting, isn't it? Yeah. By always wanting to understand, something that you don't know. Yeah.
And I drive my husband crazy because every day I hear from home and I say, "And did you know this?" And so
just a walking encyclopedia of information.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay, so as part of our food for thought with all our guests, we like to choose an object that we think either, you know, best represents them or their career or what they're about. And for me, you're all about communication. And I think the fact that you've just discussed, you know, your curiosity to learn and want to know more, the thing with you, Carla, though, is that you also want to share that. So you are a great communicator. So given that the modern age that we live in, a lot of communication now is via text messaging and Messenger and those sorts of digital devices. And the emoji is greatly used. I know I'm
this guy.
well, we've got him. We're not representing you with him, of course. But we got this little fella, okay, because you're always smiling and you're pretty cool. You're a pretty cool chick, so we thought we have to have the cool sunnies on there.
Yes.
So our question to you is, if you were to create a new emoji, what would it be? And who might use it the most, do you think?
Oh, goodness.
Oh, it's a tricky one.
Well, the ones, I'm just trying to think of the ones I use most.
Well, what are your most common ones?
The bottle of champagne,
Oh,
glass of wine,
love that.
the cheese, and the exercise person, and the coffee.
And the coffee.
I think I need one that says almost "good on you" rather than the thumbs up. Or
Yes.
you've got that. You go, girl. Or
Yeah.
boyfriend. You know.
Something for encouragement.
Encouragement.
Yeah, there's a few on there that I get frustrated. I think there's just nothing in between.
Yeah. Keep up
Yeah.
the good work or something. Yeah.
Okay.
There we go.
And I guess anyone could use that.
That's right. I don't know what it looks like. Someone...
Yeah, was it the little face?
Yeah.
With a thumbs up? Maybe we could craft one up.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And we could release it and see how that
Keep up the
goes.
good work.
Excellent. Very good. Well, it has been an absolute pleasure having
Always
you
with
here.
you too, Jen.
And I can't wait to be a part of the Life Approach events coming up. So make sure you keep us tuned because we'll be there with bells on.
Yep.
But thank you, Carla. Thank you so much for being open and honest and sharing all of this with us. And we look forward to catching up soon.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This is great.
You're welcome.
Great
Thank you.
initiative. Thanks, Jodie.
Thanks.